Is there a last topic?
Last topic I do want to talk about. Did everyone get to read the Perkz interview that he did with like the Croatian website? There's a Croatian website where he did...
yeah, I always read Croatian website. What? Okay, you're going to have to give me some more info here. Was it in Croatian?
It was translated in English and posted on Reddit.
Right, okay.
So...
Okay. No, I didn't then. Right, shall I read it now? Is there a relevant part you want to quote?
It's a long interview and there was interesting parts, so we don't have to go through every single part. But
give us some highlights to talk about then.
One part that he talked about that I thought was really interesting was in the roster building process for G2 this year. He said the first option was actually not getting caps. He said the first option was him playing mid and going with a different AD carry, but the AD carry was contractually obligated to another team, so he didn't go. And a lot of people were speculating that it was upset. I actually thought it's probably upset, but it might be Zeben. But that would have been also a really interesting world where Fnatic got to keep caps and G2 built their own roster without destroying Fnatic's, and how it would have matched up and how different it would have.
Yeah, I know he doesn't exactly like you said that, but and also to be fair, like that, like I know you like the counterfactual you set up there is an interesting one, but to be fair, it's not like Caps would definitely have stayed. Like for example, if what Caps said is true and he wanted the challenge and goes, he might be on Cloud9 right now. You know, there's other options that were available. So yeah, but okay, yeah, true. There might be a world where he'd stayed. So. Basically, what do we think of the world where there'd be Perkz mid lane and a different ADC?
Yeah, like Upset or Zeben. Most likely it was Upset due to their friendship. But
like, first of all, one thing that has to be said is, even though I think Perkz, like I actually think the only downside of this G2 lineup is I'll never get to see what would have happened if Perkz had stayed as a mid laner. I think that's a really interesting discussion, and I think that's actually the one area that sucks in LEC at the moment is nobody really puts Humanoid as like the competitor to Caps. They say Humanoid's a really good mid, and maybe he's even an MVP, but you know what? Caps is Caps. He's too good, isn't he? The problem is Perkz was the player who should have been the rival. They should be the Bjergsen Jensen of our league, and we should have that constant rivalry where it would be fucking amazing. I'd love to see what happened, because here's the thing. To me, what I love about the two players as well is they're both very high level, but I think Perkz is a way more stable player. Like, I think that's quite an interesting, even stylistic contrast. You know, they're not the same player at all. So there's that factor. So on one level, who knows? Maybe there's a world in which the mid lane's more stable for G2. But I tell you what, with Perkz as a mid lane and a normal AD carry, not Perkz playing ADC, they would not have this style whatsoever.
They'd be more one-dimensional.
I think they could even maybe still be number one, but they would not be the team that they are now. I don't think they would win MSI, for example. So that's my take on it. Even though those players could be better for all I know, you know. It's just like that style. That's like we have a phrase, like an idiom that says like catching lightning in a bottle. Like nobody could have predicted that style would exist. When they were putting the team together, they didn't know it existed. No one could.
Once in a blue moon.
Some of it was luck, because obviously you can tell they must have just started playing like that and being like, fuck, this all just worked. We can just do whatever we want.
One thing that also doesn't get talked about with G2 is like they just get along so well together, and they're also like a brotherhood team where they are such good friends outside of the game, and it shows like inside of the game, it shows in when they do their content. Like that's also like lightning in a bottle, as we said.
What do you think this team would be like in an imaginary hypothetical world where apparently Fnatic wasn't destroyed? You know, when Fnatic still existed as a top team. No, what do you think of this potential G2 team though?
Honestly, I think whatever team has Caps on it can turn into that type of team. I'll give you an example. Summer Split 2018. What do you think Fnatic was when I was playing bot lane?
Yeah, the key word when you were playing bot lane.
Yes, this is the team we were. I was doing crazy, running around getting 10 kills a minute, like getting a kill a minute in an LCS, right? That was what our identity was at some point, right? I was running around playing Swain, Galio, Victor. I had a random champion every game bot lane, didn't I? So in that sense, when it comes to troll picks, I've got my experience as well. But that's what I'm trying to get. That's what I want people to understand, right? Is that's what Caps brings to a team. Is he brings uniqueness. He brings leadership in the sense of you want to follow the guy into his stupid shit, right? Like when he's doing something stupid, you want to follow the guy in. You want to go with him. You want to see how it goes, right? You want to be there for the ride when you're playing with Caps. At least that's how I feel. And that's like the type of leadership that I always felt, regardless of me playing top or bot lane. And that was something that was very enjoyable about playing with him. And it was something that, you know, it was a great experience, really.
By the way, just as an aside, because you're obviously within the scene more, do you actually have a theory as to who the player would have been, who the AD carry he's referring to?
I'm going to be honest. I have almost no contact with anybody, any other player outside of my team.
You haven't been invited to the Skype group, right? I see. So
I
you aren't
don't
truly in the Illuminati yet. Right, okay.
Right. Like I don't really communicate with anyone out of my team. Like I don't discuss with anybody. I don't really have LEC friends in the sense of, like let's go hang out or drink something or whatever. Like I'm honestly doing my own thing. I have for the past 2 years. So in that sense, I honestly haven't got a clue, mate. Like I can make as an educated guess as anybody else would, right? Sven is obviously like, don't get me wrong, right? After that year in TSM, I'm sure he would have been looking for options, and they're good enough friends to talk with each other, right? Whereas on the other end, Schalke, they just came off summer finals. Are they really that unhappy? Again, right, it makes more sense if you think about it that way, that it would be Sven, right?
Sure.
In the same vein, it would,
the history they have.
Right, exactly. So, but yeah, it could have been upset all the same. Like, I don't know how people feel in their team or anything like that, right? For all I know, that team could have been crumbling. TSM could have been the best, like have the best atmosphere ever, and Schalke could have been crumbling, or the other way around. I have no clue because I don't talk to anybody about this really.
Yeah. I think
what I love is in LEC now, like I bet in Fnatic, they've become like the paranoid girlfriend. You know, the girlfriend where when she's been cheated on once, like now you can't even talk to a girl in the club. She's like, what are you talking to that bitch for? What you said? Like, I bet if they even see someone talk to Perkz, they're like, what the fuck are you saying right in like that? They have like a professional lip reader offset. Are you saying something about the off season? What about the off season? Shut it down now. Shut it down. Like, I wouldn't blame them. I'd be doing that, mate. I'd have like the equivalent of a chastity belt on their fucking mouths. I don't know what the equivalent to that would be. Gag, I guess.
I think it's 90% Upset and 10% Sven, just because Upset, I heard Upset and Perkz are really good friends from what I heard, and Sven also does make sense. I wouldn't take it out of context. Like people are like, oh, look at Sven now. Like why would G2 want Sven? Like Sven is still very fucking good, and he still had like a year ago Sven was still highly regarded.
Let's be real. If you are in G2 and you are Perkz, you have a completely different sense of Sven than anyone else watching the game. Like you don't give a fuck that on TSM he didn't do well. Like what do you don't even play in that region. You would ignore that entirely. You'd go, I know who Sven is. I played with him.
Absolutely.
Could he do this on my team? And you would recruit. In the same reason I told you, Loco, 100% that teams would be going ham to get Mithy when he came back to Europe. I don't give a fuck if he entered a bunch of games in LCS. Everyone in Europe's not going to go, right, you had a couple of bad LCS splits. Yeah, fuck him. I'll just take this random rookie. No. Like, players like that are always going to get another chance. They've earned it, to be fair.
Actually, I do remember when Perkz was asked about TSM last year, about Mithy and Sven failing, he said, I don't know how TSM failed with Perkz and Mithy, or Sven and Mithy. These guys are crazy players. Like, they taught me so much. Like, I just don't know what's wrong within TSM, but it can't be Sven and Mithy. Like, that was Perkz' point of view last year, and this was about last year's offseason. So, yes, he probably would have really...
I mean, I will say, listen, he's not here now, but I'll imagine I'm addressing him and replying to him there. Like, you don't understand how TSM failed with Sven and Mithy. Did you ever see yourself at a lot of those international tournaments? Like, you were playing with them, you failed. Just going to say that. Just saying, homie, how did you fail? That's my question. So, just saying. I should have a show called Just Saying, where what I do is I say really obnoxious shit that's not just saying. It's actually making accusations. So then I just back off like, just saying, bro. Because somehow that makes it acceptable at the end. Like, is there anything else in this interview that was pertinent?
That was the biggest talking point. There was a lot of interesting points. If you guys haven't seen it, I would go read the Reddit post.
The translated one, obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, the interesting thing about G2 is that Mickey X was joining regardless, right? Like, I imagine. So the question is okay, having Perkz mid lane and then having that solid AD carry that could potentially have been Upset, could have been potentially been Sven, whoever, right? Just a solid AD carry. Do you think this would be a contending team? I think so, right?
Mate, I would enjoy seeing Upset and Mickey X play in a bot lane.
Exactly, right? You know, Upset Mickey. Let's say Upset Mickey X on Caps, Fnatic back on Caps. That's
a rivalry.
That's a good few games, right? That's going to be enjoyable.